Hello, my name is Héctor Arredondo Duran. This is my final project regarding the subject Teaching English through Translation. During this video, I will try to explain the main concepts of the 4 units or chapters checked in this subject. Translation is a very interesting area. According to the dictionary, translation is the process of translating words or text from one language to another. During this course, we checked 4 different units, which are Chapter 1, A Brief History of Translation up to the 1980s. Chapter 2, Translating or Translation. Chapter 3, Teaching Translation, and Chapter 4, Translation as a Language Teaching Tool. This first chapter was very interesting because we checked the origins of translation. I think translation existed from the beginning of languages. Ancient people wanted to learn something about sacred books. According to the unit, the Bible is mentioned, and it is said it's the most translated book nowadays. There was this need to know about God's Word, and people wanted to know exactly what was revealed in this book. Ancient cultures wanted to get involved more and more in translating this sacred text. In another document provided by the professor, I learned something extra about the most famous translators through history, such as Saint Jerome, Gaspar Antonio Chi, Mark Twain, and Jorge Luis Borges. I honestly didn't know of these interesting historical facts. In Chapter 2, we checked some interesting terms. First of all, the practical approach, which determines how to transfer the contents of the source into the target language. It deals with the process of translating. Then, the linguistic model differs from the other models of translation because it is not an applied model. Meaning is understood as a form of language recoding, and pragmatics is absent from it. Then, the text linguistic model takes into account the various uses of language by speakers and writers in particular communicative situations. The computational model states that the computer is a tool for the human translator and incorporates terminological and lexical assistance and document management assistance. According to Octavio Paz, all translation is literary because we have to produce a transformation unless we transfer one word into another word and do a not only literal but serval transfer. Now, in chapter 3, I learned that proficiency in the foreign language is necessary and important, but proficiency in translator's mother tongue is even more important. In sociocultural knowledge, the translator is immersed in a cultural transfer, which requires them to be bicultural rather than bilingual. The absence of subjects such as civilization, culture, and economy are a drawback for the preparation of future professionals. In the final chapter, it's mentioned that we as teachers can make use of translation as a tool, and it has 3 advantages. First, checking on accuracy. Second, awareness of contents and form. And 3, cognitive and psychological reasons. Then, the grammar translation method has had a very bad reputation regarding translation as a tool for learning English. There has been a large debate about the use of translation in ELT, and the case of John and Liz Source, authors of the book Headway, is mentioned. The steps to translation are the preparatory exercises, where the teacher can make use of real text that should illustrate cultural differences. Now, parallel text are literary text or extracts from literary text. Translating L1 into L2 and vice versa is another mentioned topic. As a conclusion, I really learned many things from this subject. Being a professional in translation requires time, study, and different tools to develop effectively. It's crucial to be proficient in modern and foreign language, but the most important is to be conscious in culture. Talking about me as an English teacher, I don't consider myself a translator, but I admit I learned and enjoyed these 2 translation assignments or tasks in which I had to translate Spanish into English and vice versa. It was challenging but very interesting at the same time because I had to create mental processes. Translation is good and useful when teaching, but we shouldn't overuse it. It's only a tool. We as teachers should create and prepare effectively materials to encourage translation in our daily practice. So thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope you have understood my explanation about these topics. Goodbye.